Welcome to the Radical Roots Podcast, the official Big John. And happy Black History Month to everybody out there who celebrates and everybody that don't. Whatever. Happy Black History Month to you too, because you still got to celebrate and see our black asses. Welcome to the Radical Roots Podcast, where we dig deep to reach high. I am your co-host, Pedron Baxter.
And I'm your co-host, Ram Sandoval.
And we are here coming to you live from the Snowacane here in North Carolina. Were you snowed in? I mean, I saw some pictures of you and the fam. How was the Snowacane for your household?
Yeah, I mean, I went to the Charlotte Hornets game yesterday. A friend invited me last minute, and they bumped the game up from 3 p.m. to 12 p.m. Because of the storm. Yet it was a snowstorm on the way there. So he's from New York. He drove.
Oh, he's like, it's nothing.
So, yeah, if it was, I'm not driving with somebody from the South.
Right.
So 4-wheel drive, and we got there, caught the game, first Charlotte Hornets game for me. They won.
Oh, okay.
And then afterwards the snow was pretty heavy. I want to say 6-7 inches by that point.
6-7.
Yeah. Yeah, and so made it back just fine. And for me, it's I'm kind of used to the snow. It wasn't the icy conditions that's impossible here. And so the girls loved it, playing out in the snow. Built a snowman today, and the snow's melted. It's out in the streets, but yet they've still shut down things for tomorrow. So school's been canceled. But that's the South that I've come to know. But I've did not expect to see snow ever again like this when I moved here. So I actually felt bad when we moved here for the girls. But they got more. There was more snow here than the last time in Illinois. So
it's funny for us. My kids, they clearly weren't used to it. I had a pair of snow boots because I went to Colorado in 2020. The month before COVID hit. And so I had a pair of snow boots. My first time going to Colorado, we went to Vail. We went to Breckenridge where they do the X Games. My first time snowboarding. And I had these snow boots. And I remember like 2 years ago, I was like, let me get rid of these shits. I'm not going to need these. And literally, I was like, damn, I should throw them shits away. But, my son, he had a great time. My daughter, she's 4. She was like crying at some part like where snow's getting in her face. And I'm like, girl, you got Pittsburgh blood in you. You should be. This is delay weather. This is a 2-hour delay weather for Pittsburgh. This isn't like you should have this in you. She's like, no, daddy, snow's in my face. And I'm like, no, you gotta toughen up. This is embarrassing for a 4-year-old. I just scold her, Ron. I just scold her, but it's all good. It's all good. But no, they had fun. They went sledding again today. I was out there, and I don't know how they got this much energy because I was like, I should be tired. Y'all should be tired.
Yeah, we left our sleds back home or back at in Chicago because.
Do y'all call them sleds or y'all call them toboggans? What y'all call them?
Sleds. I don't know, call them toboggans, but I was like, we're not going to use these again. Luckily, there's some neighbors that have some. So
I think I saw a picture of you using a child sled. Is that correct?
You did. You call.
Okay. I got to tell on you, Rom. I don't care.
A neighbor caught me that was a camera. I did not know I was on camera and sent the picture.
Who's that big ass man on that child sled? And Rom out there. Okay, let me show you how we do it in Chicago. It was how we used to do it when we was kids. But So we're all snowed in. We're all having fun, and but the news does not stop. And this was a great time for a Radical Roots podcast, episode 74. Welcome in, folks, as folks are piling in and joining into the Radical Roots chat, into the Radical Roots stream. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Radical Roots podcast. This is how we stay independent. Make sure we give you news through a black and brown lens directly to you. And folks, this show would be nothing without your support, participation. Every dollar goes a very long way. I'm not saying you got to give us 100,000, but if you give us maybe 100 pennies, that goes a long way. Go ahead, Ron. What you got?
Shout out to our recent donors.
Yes,
Kara, Liz, Kevin, And everyone else who's recently donated that I might have missed is much appreciated. It
Yes.
definitely keeps this going, keeps us being able to amplify through this platform, through the clips, just all the technology we use, the website,
It
and
ain't
so
free.
it's much appreciated. It is not.
And
And
it's funny. Like we were such bad capitalists. Like I'm trying to get better at asking for it. Now I'm like, hey, donate, y'all. Please give us a couple dollars. It helps us out. $10 will go a long way. And at the beginning, I was kind of like, I don't know, should we ask? Should we do
yeah,
it? How? Now I was like, no, we need y'all because we're serious about it. And we see how they're attacking journalists, and we want to make sure that we can keep doing this for y'all. So
yeah,
thank y'all for the people that donate and the folks that support. Please make sure you share it with friends. Hey, I'm watching these two guys in North Carolina. There's very few Black podcasts with Black people talking about politics that know what they're talking about. We're not just talking about, can you believe these women ain't cooking for us? That's not our show. Can you believe that, that they coming down on the white man? No, that's not what we're doing here. We're going to give you politics. We're going to give you through a historical lens, a statewide lens, a federal lens, and an international lens, because that's what we are here, and we're going to
yeah,
celebrate.
and we hope to
But
make it,
go ahead, Ron.
even a bigger, and make this into a movement. So, all right, what do
Yeah,
we got today?
as we well, yeah, again, as we're kicking off Black History Month, it's I feel like there's never a slowdown of anything, right? So we got this potential. I talked about this on the Roots Rundown on Friday. This 2-week abatement for ICE funding that Chuck Schumer, we call it Chuckles as much as we want to on this show, but we got to give him some credit where credit is due. A 2-week reprieve for ICE funding. But there's some provisions in there where like there's actually this code of conduct in there, which is kind of baffling to me that they didn't have a code of conduct, right? Or like another one in there was like, please make sure there's a provision where you can't deport U.S. citizens, which is like another performative Democratic Party thing where they're like, put that in there. That's it. You already can't do that. But like, why are you negotiating against yourself? You know what I mean?
Right. So, look, I mean, I don't think they keep kicking the can. They just kick the can down the road with everything. So I don't know. What do you expect to happen in 2 weeks?
I don't know. I mean, the problem is that the Democrats unfortunately don't have a track record to be against ICE. Since it was created in 2001, put into full installation in 2003, there has been a continuance and an upping of funding year over year, administration, whether it be George W. Bush, whether it be Barack Obama, whether it be Donald Trump, whether it be Joe Biden, now back to Donald Trump. Where it's trying to legitimize itself in the minds of Americans, where they're looking at this as law enforcement. But like we keep saying on the show, ICE is not law enforcement. They do not act like law enforcement. One, you can't enforce the law and also break the law yourself. And on top of that, their funds are not located in the where law enforcement funds come out of, which is the Department of Justice. Their funds coming out of national security, which is a larger problem. It's a decades-long xenophobic, campaign against our Muslim brothers and sisters used to take away our rights. And the problem is the Democrats get boxed into this corner where, I saw it on the Sunday shows this morning, where they're asking Democratic leaders and folks who are either Congress people or senators who are talking about at least kind of they're playing with it. They're playing with the language of like we should get rid of some provisions for ICE, and they get hit with so do you don't want them to arrest murderers and killers? It's a joke that we're still having this conversation about the murders and killers.
Yeah, I mean, I think even if they let's say they drop the word abolish, I mean, dismantle and disband, I don't know, figure it out. I mean, the messaging isn't that hard. When they're again not following the laws, they're murdering people in the streets, they're murdering people on New Year's, they're murdering people inside of the detention centers, which look more and more like concentration camps. And they are brazenly, ignoring any norms when it comes to investigations, whether it's just a shooting investigation, what happens after, and inviting other law enforcement, local law enforcement. They said there's going to be no investigation. This administration smears the victims as soon as it happens, before they even have the facts of it. They're already out defending. So the idea that this is a legitimate force, or law enforcement is ludicrous. And so the Democrats, that keep kind of playing this game of well, we're gonna defund, we're gonna reduce their funding, or we're gonna have these provisions that they need to have body cameras and more training. And it's like, this is a compromised agency. You can't really come back from and fix.
Right.
You can't come back and fix it. So I still think it's pretty weak. I think the direction of the Democrats is to be determined. There's a race out in Detroit that I'm going to be kind of keeping an eye on, kind of as a bellwether. I don't know if you've heard about it. So there's three candidates that are running in Michigan. So there's Michigan State Senator Mallory McMurrow, Stevens, and let's see,
is it Syed?
And, El Sayed. Yep, Haley Stevens and Abdul El Sayed. So they're all polling pretty closely, and he's pretty progressive. And I think let me see, McMurrow is the
she's a state senator.
Yeah, so I'm trying to see which one the Democrats are backing.
It's
McMurrow. Yeah. So
McMurrow.
No. So Stevens is a classic swing state centrist favored by many establishment Democrats and has taken smaller bills.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But and McMurrow is kind of the middle. And then so El Sayed has the backing of Senator Bernie Sanders. So it should be interesting to see. I mean, that's a pretty I think that primary alone could be a potential eye opener for Democrats, and kind of see how the direction of where people really truly want to see the party go. I think El Sayed there would be a huge upset to the establishment Democrats and these people who are saying we can't defund ICE. We can't defund, abolish. They're just like, oh well, they need more training. So we'll see how that goes.
El Sayed, he was just caught with not caught, but there's a picture that resurfaced of him wearing an Abolish ICE shirt. And this picture was like from 2019. You know what I mean? Like, bro's been on it for a minute. Same way, like as AOC said, we should abolish ICE.
Well, I think anybody who's talking about these things 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever, I think that those people that shows that they have foresight. Because those are the people that are saying, well, I'm not surprised we're here. This the writing was on the wall.
And to that point, as you talk about like foresight, and as we give shit to national leadership, you have Hakeem Jeffries, who did not whip those 7 votes, right? Or whip votes to make sure they didn't. And it's to your great point there about foresight. He couldn't have the foresight that how bad shit was going to get because they voted, and then the next day Alex Preddy was killed. And to the point, you have people like Tom Suozzi, who, again, I remind folks, used to be a Republican and is now in the Democratic Party, and people like Don Davis and these other folks. I played the clip of Mary Glusenkamp Perez on the Roots Rundown of these people after Alex Preddy was killed, being like, oh, we made a mistake. You have people like the AOCs, like the Zohar Mamdanis, the Bernie Sanders, the El Sayeds, the Black people who have been telling you these things. And then, so like, who has foresight is a very important quality for leadership. And it shows that people like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are not it. And they should step down. They should be primary. They should not be in leadership at all, because a key component of how can you lead is to be able to see where the where the current's taking you. What is the old Wayne Gretzky quote? Don't skate to where the puck is, skate to where the puck's going. And like, they're too busy saying, well, it's right here. Everybody's saying that we're all caught up in ICE. It's like, no, dude, the people are
Yeah,
upset.
what a great quote. That is a great quote.
That's not me.
I know it's Wayne
That's Wayne
Gretzky,
Gretzky.
but it's still a great quote. I'm gonna post this. This came from the Instagram. How do we go from talk to a long-term? How do we go from talk to a long-term strategic plan to stop the big grab that we are seeing in the strategic plan of this white nationalist takeover? Yeah, actually, this is a great question. It's actually something I wanted to pose to you as we go into this like all this news we're going to dive into and chop it up over. I mean, what is the strategic plan and to actually stop what's happening and so I don't have the answers, but I do think it's important that like as we do talk through these things and do kind of figure out the plan, I think what we're talking about right now as it relates to these Democrats and their positions and the Democrats allowing 2 weeks and allowing them to kick the can down the road and keep funding DHS and ICE and the Border Patrol and and these platforms that Democrats, supposedly hate or love in all these regions of don't say abolish, police or don't say abolish ICE or don't say defund, or, all these like, oh, healthcare for all, like, do not say that, we're going to upset the centrists and we're going to lose the swing vote. I think right now it's important that to have candidates and representatives and people in leadership that have principles, that have convictions, that have integrity, that are honest, that are transparent, that are willing to communicate and talk to the community in which they serve. So to me, those are the most important qualities. I can care less like who's not against Trump on the Democratic side, right? Like, and even the independents and swing voters, I mean, they don't like Trump. So if there's something that they don't like because it it serves humanity or being human or treating people like human and gives them the rights they deserve, if that is what drives them to vote for Republicans and Donald Trump in this moment, I think not. I don't think that makes sense. So now's the time to I think we just have to, I think there's an opportunity to, I wouldn't say fix Democrats, but I do think there's an opportunity to drive change within the Democratic Party right now. That has to happen. And if, I think this is the last chance. I still am not confident in this 2026 elections, that the viability that they will be free and fair and not interfered with. But, I think maybe we talk about this now. Sorry, like, I don't know where you're at in the agenda, but like Texas race, right, is a great example. I mean, that type of numbers in a Republican seat for 35 years. And then I think the Democrat won by like what, 10, 17, something between 10. It was a 17 points. I can't even remember exactly, but I'll have to pull it up. But it has to be too big to rig. That has to be how it has to be in November at the very least. Like, that's the best opportunity we have. And I think what gets people out their seats is people who are, doing something a little more, have a little more radical, a little more change, less of the same old. And I think that, if the Democratic Party, they're worried about this El Sayed winning the primary because they think that, he'll perform weakly in the general. But I kind of disagree. And I think it's a risk worth taking, because you have the David Axelrods that are saying, oh, well, if he wins, we're going to lose the Senate opportunity to run the Senate. It's like, we got to stop being feared out of, feared into centrism, feared into nothingness, feared into being unprincipled. So.
No, great points. Well, again, Chief Vassal Clan, thank you for this question. I think this is a very poignant question. I think that it's asking, excuse me, when I start talking, I start sneezing. You're supposed to bring my name up. I don't know what's going on.
I dream a genie.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh. Well, I think what's happening here, I mean, Ron was answering a political question. I think you're asking more of a cultural question. I said America has a cultural problem first and a political problem second. That's our current state. And until we kind of all come together on that is the issue, or at least that's the order of operations. My son's going through math, so I'm like order of operations, right? Like going through his PEMDAS, if you will. That's how we have to look at this. I think what you're asking is, this is not about votes, right? Because at the end of the day, like we're gonna have to fight these people regardless. If it doesn't matter if they win all the states and they say, look, everybody loves us. We know that's not the case. This is why they're freaking out and why they need to control all the media and they need to control all the platforms. We'll talk about that later on the show. Is that they need people to believe that they are inevitable, right? So I think to your broader question of how do we stop the big grab that we're seeing in the strategic plan for this white nationalist takeover, it's what do we and who, those of us that stand against that, what are you organizing, right? Like you live somewhere, Chief Vassal Clan, like, so in your area, how are you organizing people right now to fight against white supremacy? What are you doing to either unpack, unlearn, and retrain people in your area to have the right knowledge and be able to be sounding boards? So when things happen, that you're able to say, I know this person's good, I know this person's not. Like, what type of mutual aid plans are you setting up for people? What type of political education plans are you setting up for people? I'm saying you, Chief Vassal Clan, but I'm saying for anybody listening, this is how we fight it. It's not, we can't wait for someone in a tailored suit who's going to come out there and say some hip hop lines like Hakeem Jeffries, or someone who's going to have his glasses down here like Chuck Schumer and tell you that the next thing we got is the Democrats is going to stand for Israel. Like, what are we going to do, right? So like, and now dare I say, a lot of that stuff is rooted in history. Rahm so geniusly brought up the 10-point plan of the Black Panther Party. And that's just one organization that fought against white supremacy. There's been countless groups that have fought and defeated white supremacy, and we'll never get rid of it. Let's be very clear about that. We will never get rid of white supremacy in America because it is a part of America. What we have to do is make that shit run back under a rock. Yeah. So to say all that is, we first had to figure out who we are and who is the we. We just had Chase Franklin on last Sunday. Was that a week ago, right? Chase?
Yep, a week ago.
A week ago. And me and him had a conversation about, I don't know if it's on his page or sometimes this week, about like, we're going to defeat this. And I said, well, who's the we? Because I think it's easy for people when they're getting riled up and they're getting angry, they're seeing what's happened, they're saying like, we got to fight this. And I'm like, okay, well, who is we? Because when we say that, we have to then remember there is still, we have to read into it race, we have to read into it gender, we have to read into it class, we have to read into social, economic status, we have to read into our privileges and our biases. Those things have to be dealt with. That's the reason why we never dealt with the Confederacy, right? So like, I know this isn't really a direct answer, but like that's kind of how, that's the first step.
Yeah, I think,
especially as we're going through this through this fight, especially as we're talking about like the white nationalist takeover, because we can't forget, like, the Democratic Party itself is not. It's peddling soft white nationalism.
Yeah,
right. The overt white nationalists are in the Republican Party, but don't you ever get it twisted. The Democratic Party is absolutely peddling soft white nationalism. Yeah. So how do we fix those things culturally, and then we get to the political part?
Yeah,
so
I think when
that's just.
I think when they had that Charlie Kirk, thinly veiled Klan rally here in Monroe, and I hit you up, I'm like, well, what do we do? Because this is crazy. These white nationalists, in the middle, and they're comfortable doing this. He said, it was, not like there's nothing you and I can do. This is like, is going to require white people to dismantle white supremacy, right? So there's that, and then this idea that I think it really is about building these coalitions. And what is the common cause that these coalitions can get behind? I think historically, a lot of people think the Democratic Party is the coalition. It's the Big Tent party that has to bring in everybody. But I think these coalitions have to exist outside of the party. They have to exist outside of just the Democratic Party. It might be the Democratic Socialists, the Democratic Party, the PSLs, and kind of figure out, how do we. What are we going to beat first before we start to dig into, some of the more specifics, right? Then we can actually have, debates and debate over policy. but it
Right.
requires adults to be at the table, right? And I think that there is spirited debates that can happen within, these left-leaning factions of the Democratic Party and the PSLs and Democratic Socials and what is it, the Young
The
Working
Families
Families
Party.
Party, right? Because I love some of those things, all those things people are saying,
Oh, yeah.
right? So, it's just a matter of like, how do we get there? And I think it's very, it's important. But let's say let's just say Democrats win, let's say they win 60 seats in the Senate and, they run the House. Does that mean we give up? I mean, not give up. Does that mean we just kind of sit back and, because these white nationalists and their ideology doesn't go away at all. So what do we do with that? I mean, they might fall back into the shadows and, pretend like they never had these crazy stances and supported pedophiles and, supported all kinds of craziness, right? So what do we do with that? And I think got to start thinking about that too. I think it's important because we Biden won, like white supremacy. Oh, Obama won, racism is dead, like white supremacy
We're
is dead.
post-racial.
We're post-racial, right? We are post-racial. Well, geez, it's like we got right back into it really, really fucking quick.
Real quick, we went right back to pre-racial. But no, I think it's it's we have to walk and chew gum. Everybody has a job, everybody has a position. We are at a point, and I think you were both big fans of our fellow brother podcaster Deontay Kyle. He made a really good point where he said that we as Black people, we're not going to be out. There's no amount of shaming you can do for us, because the reason why you can't shame Black people is because you never listened to us when we warned you about this stuff for decades and hundreds of years, right? Or even more contemporarily, recently, we warned you about all this stuff for 20 years. Like, hey, you guys over militarizing, you guys are the reason they can't say abolish ISIS is because they couldn't say defund the police. Now, I mean, you talked about that before, but like this is with the slow drip of authoritarianism. Yeah. When you keep saying these violent forces of the state are legitimate, it's hard to then say, well, now this one's bad. Because it's called, in psychology, it's called a sunk cost fallacy, where it's like it's already part of it. Well, I kind of already agree with it because I've already given it too much of a permission structure. And like Black people have always fought against this system since being forced to be here.
Yeah.
And I've been getting to it, folks, all week about this stuff, and like let them know, like, this is, to your point, like, this is a white people problem to fix.
Yeah, and I think we say like, oh well, listen to Black people, not just listen to Black people because they're Black and magic people, but there might be some intuitiveness that Black people might possess, but there is a historical experiences, lived experiences between us and our ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who understands history, understands lived experiences, and understands perspectives. Yep. Like the people that can understand the perspective, the people that are curious to learn about other cultures, learn what it's like to be in somebody else's shoes, they're going to have better insights than someone who does not really explore what that's like. So when we talk about white privilege, you as a white man, especially, you have that option. You can live in this world and not really give a shit about what it feels like or what it looks like to live as you as a straight white male. You don't have to worry about what it's like to live as a gay Black man or whatever it may be. So that takes an extra step. And so I think the people that can do that, they have a better perspective of what it's like to be an American in a diverse country, and what it actually takes to overcome this, white nationalist, white supremacist. I don't even know if I would call it a takeover. Resurgence, if you will, right? So, I just think it is important. So, like, anyone has that perspective, but as we saw with the results, Black women, they have it. I think that's that intuition, if I'm being honest, coupled along with everything I just said. And Black men were right behind, and I've said the goofiest voting blocks are Latinos for Trump and women for Trump. Those do not make any sense. You're voting against your own self-interest. So let's move into some stories, because speaking of which, there was two Border Patrol. So I don't. There's a difference between Customs and Border Patrol and Border Patrol. CBP and BP. I don't know, but anyways, there was 2 men that were named today as the shooters of Alex Preddy.
So I got it here. Let's see if I can maybe pull it up because I know it wasn't working the last time. But let me see if I can. If it's easier, I already got it here. Let's see. Let's see if it works today, folks. Let's see. Let me see. Let me know if y'all see this because it was not working. Y'all see this?
Yep.
Okay, nice. All right, so we have 2 CBP agents identified in Alex Preddy shooting. 2 federal immigration agents who fired on Minneapolis protester Alex Preddy are identified records as Border Patrol agent Jesus Ochoa and Customs and Border Protection Officer Raimundo Gutierrez. All right. Again, these are 2 officers. Ochoa 43, Gutierrez 35.
Jesus Ochoa and Raimundo Gutierrez. So
yeah, let's start there. So I know you're half Mexican, so I'm gonna let you take this one. Just to open it up.
But this is what. This is what I'm talking about. Where I think like here you have these 2. I'm gonna say I would be willing to bet that at least one of these men have accents, as we've seen in these videos.
No question.
You can close out that little.
No question.
So they're out here asking people for their fucking papers.
Papeles.
They have their accent of their own. Is absolutely ridiculous. And I think it's crazy to me that Latinos, people from Latin America can come over here and feel like that they can then shut the door on others, or even, and that's just the least of it, but then to actually go out and be a slave catching Gestapo like force to catch their own, people who have similar heritage, similar roots in South America, Central America, that have been oppressed, that continue to be oppressed. Like, it's crazy to me. These are the type of folks that, I can't even, it's hard to explain, because you would be like, oh, you should conform and assimilate. But these motherfuckers have accents. Like, what, like, how can you, and, I don't speak Spanish, one of the reasons, like, I grew up with my mother. My dad can speak Spanish, but doesn't really speak Spanish. But when my grandmother, Estella, when she was older, or when she was younger, I should say, and didn't want her kids speaking Spanish because they would be discriminated against. Like, it was looked frowned upon. So, like, my eldest aunt, she speaks Spanish, but like none of the other kids really learned. They weren't taught Spanish to speak it fluently at home because they didn't want them speaking it in public. And so, it was a little bit of fear. It was less about assimilation, more about fear. Now I feel like if you are actively teaching your kids not to speak, at least in the past few decades, not to speak Spanish, is more about assimilation. And it's just very disappointing to see these 2, Hispanic, Latino men out here doing the bidding of white supremacy and what it really is. And I don't know if it's just completely ignorant of what's actually happening. It's disappointing.
Yeah, no, it has to be gutting. And I have a friend, she's Latina, and she sent me the article right after you sent it to me. It was like, I can't believe this. And, rightfully so. She's like, it's gutting. It is gutting. And if these was 2 brothers, I'd be just as pissed. And I am equally just as pissed that it are 2 members of my fellow melanated majority, right? You gotta think the majority of us on this planet have melanin. But you said something there about the idea of assimilation. You're like, this is crazy. I'm like, it's not crazy, because assimilation doesn't have anything to do with not having an accent. It has. We need you to assimilate to uphold this system. right? That is their value. That is their, I mean, that's why they can like someone like a Sexy Red who performed at, one of Trump's advisors' wedding, or, Waka Flocka, or Nicki Minaj, who they used to say has no good qualities for young Black women. But as long as she upholds the system of white male patriarchy that's centered, okay, you're good for right now. Until you want to step out of that, then you're going to be excised. So it's the same thing here. We need you to maintain racial domination. And if that means if someone who's from that of our privileged group steps outside of that, you are full within your rights. We are giving you full license to murder someone who is a race traitor. And you will get your stars, you will get your payday loan, because that's how this $50,000 bonus is set up. It's set up like a payday loan where you get $10,000 a year, and if you have to hit your quota, and you might need to kill people. All these things align with a settler colonial project, right? Don't forget, we had Buffalo Soldiers, Black people, and these people were formerly enslaved people, but they would give you a gun and they'd give you some license to go into the prairie lands to go kill natives. So it's the same thing. It's like, how could these people, they were enslaved, they were brought here. Because as long as you uphold the system, and this is why Beyonce got into that shit when she had that shirt on that said, "Oh, I'm proud, Black history, Buffalo Soldiers." And it's like, well, these are agents of the state, no different from what's his name, Gutierrez and Ochoa, who are also doing that. So I think as we're looking at it, we had to understand what are they assimilating to it. And again, it's not about their accent. It's not about them marrying a white woman. It's about, are you going to uphold the system of racial hierarchy and racial domination?
Yeah. And I think, wanting to be on the side of, and these ICE agents wanting to be on the side of the enforcer and not the suspect, right, is,
but let me go back into it real quick. There's another part here I thought was very interesting. I don't know where,
here, go ahead. Right here. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Let's scroll back down. I'm scroll down now. Okay, this part here.
Close that little thing out the bottom. It's bothering me.
Right,
that little
X. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a
my bad. I'm still learning. Okay. Here we go. This part here. So yeah, here we go. So Ochoa, who goes by Jesse, graduated from the University of Texas Pan American with a degree in criminal justice, according to his ex-wife Angelica Ochoa, a longtime resident of the RGV, Rio Grande Valley. Ochoa had years dreamed of working for the Border Patrol and finally landed the job there, she said. Now, the thing I've been calling just conservative politics, Rom, on the other show. I'm going to bring this over to the main show now. Conservative politics is just divorced dad politics. That's all it is. It's divorced dad. It's mad that my bitch wife left and these kids are talking shit. And it's divorced dad politics. When I read that he had a divorced wife, and again, doesn't mean all divorced men, but it just, there's something about a certain level of aggrieved man who's middle-aged, who just wants to assert retribution over people they deem to be vulnerable and weak. That part stood out to me when you sent me this article earlier today, and I was like, divorced dad politics right there. It's going to show up every time. Trump, divorced dad. Pete Hegseth, divorced dad. RFK, divorced dad. Like, divorced dad politics is fucking real. And of course, you align that with white supremacy, you align that with misogyny and patriarchy, you align that with homophobia. It all makes sense. So these people who are searching for a semblance of confidence and a place on a social ladder, it makes sense that he's like, this guy who he's helping this woman who we pepper sprayed, who we knocked down with our hands. How dare he? How dare you think you have a gun? We have more guns. And it just proves that these are weak men. And I don't care if you're black, white, Latino, whatever. You joining a lynch mob proves that you are inherently weak. Because one, you ain't ready for the fade. You ain't ready for that one-on-one. I seen this video of this of the security guard scrapping these two dudes in a parking lot. And have you seen this?
I saw it. Yeah, I did see it.
And the brother, and the thing is, he had a gun. And like
right.
he ran the fade with both of these dudes. And what happened at the end of that fight, Ron?
They shook. They shook. They shook. They shook. They went to dap up with him because
these motherfuckers here shoot you and they clap on beat with the bullets, and then they scatter off like fucking roaches.
Have you seen the picture of this man?
Of
Jesse Ochoa?
I have not.
Jesse
No,
Ochoa? Oh,
breaking news. God. Breaking news on the Radical Roots, folks. Here, I'm not gonna close. I'm gonna close this.
And do not take this for 100% sure, but this is
Rom. Stop lying. I'm sick of you, Rom. This is some bull.
This is
goddamn.
Come on, bro.
Come on, man.
So yeah, I mean, I think this is like who dreams of working for the Border Patrol? I mean,
a hoe ass.
For what reason would you want? Is it to make it so that the people are treated humanely and they can find a path to, I don't know, shelter, a path to, I don't know. No, you want to play with guns. You wanted to have a stock of 25 guns. You dream of beating people down. You want to climb the hierarchy. You want to distance yourself from your heritage, your roots. I think this man probably sees himself as a white man. But you also have to remember that you have to remember that, like, a lot of us, all of us, have some colonial roots as well, and so he chooses to identify this. He's probably got some Spanish in him. We got some European in our blood too somewhere. So look at that. I mean, it ain't like it. It ain't like it. So maybe he is in touch with his roots, but we have to remember that. But I think that's you're not. It's not going to work here in America. They're about to sell them out. I think. Honestly, I saw something. A few minutes ago that said. Stephen Miller said that they violated protocol. Now he's saying it.
Wow.
So
you got Santa Monica.
I find it suspicious. Again, this is also kind of new news, but like if Stephen Miller is now saying that, suspicious timing.
Stephen Miller needs to get folded up.
Because if you think that they wouldn't sell out these two quicker than I think it might set a bad sign to some of the other agents, but also, hey, just a couple of Hispanics, a couple of Latinos. Hey,
this motherfucker.
They don't need them. They'll use these people up. They'll use these people up. They'll use the brown agents and black agents up only till as far as they need them. Because they're not. What would you need to have a purpose for? Where Stephen Miller is trying to take this is a white supremacy, like it's an all white.
This whole thing is the ethnic cleansing. That's the words we should be using about ICE. This whole thing is a ethnic cleansing.
And don't say that. It's not. It's
anybody getting in the way of that ethnic cleansing, even if you are a member of the quote unquote privileged class, is disposable. That's what we got to understand. The entire organization is built on the ethnic cleansing of America.
I think people have to understand that, and it sounds uncomfortable to hear, right? Because people will say, "That sound Payron, you sound crazy."
That's fine.
Why are you comparing it to Nazi? Why are you comparing it to Nazis? It's not it. They're not putting people in Gesh. It didn't start there. Like this is historical. The only thing that stops it from getting to this point where they're trying to take it is the people and the resistance and the doing the right things now. And not waiting forever until it's too late.
Right. Yeah. So, and we have to also understand that, like, there's people like this, and you get a good question, like who does this? People who they have nothing else going for them, right? Like, imagine being a young man for years wanting to look at this motherfucker. This motherfucker, like, watches porn with his eyes shut type shit. Like, he's one of those, like, I can't be in a room with a woman with my penis on like, motherfucker, what? Look at this motherfucker. You can tell he hangs out with the boys. Like, his wife didn't understand she's a bitch wife. Guarantee he called her a B. That's why she ain't. Guarantee there's some sort of DV in the background, domestic violence, SA, something. Guarantee that he thought January 6th was just a tour. I don't see why. I like that Kyle Rittenhouse. Guarantee if you looked at his Twitter, that shit, there's some shit. I'm sure they scrubbed his social medias. But if you did, you would find out Jesse. Because again, it's the whole. They love to say Don't the Democrats are all about identity politics. Really, the party of Bobby Jindal, Ted Cruz, and Nikki Haley and Jesse Ochoa. Y'all could even have your own fucking names. You know what I mean? Y'all do identity politics. You are literally calling yourself a whole different person to appease white people. Get the fuck out of my face.
Right. He said, I'm not Jesus. I'm Jesse.
I'm Jesse, man.
Same
You know what's
with,
crazy?
yeah.
We actually had somebody come paint our son's bathroom, and as black folks, what I say, we always got really high danger radar. Yeah, you can shut this shit out. Yeah, I'm talking to him. But we have really high danger radar. And so the guy walks in, and he's Latino, and you know me. If you part of the melanated majority, you know I'm gonna have positive vibrations with you off gate, right? So he walks in, and he's like, "Hi, my name is George." And Liz looks at me, and I look at her, and I was like, "Okay." So I had to go run.
He said, "My name is George." So Jorge.
Right. Again, I love my Latino dad brothers out there. Like, and he looks Latino. Okay, so he walks in. It's like, "Hey, my name is George," and he's painting all day, and it gets to the point where I have to go pick up the kids.
So well, let me pause you there.
Yeah,
I will say,
yeah.
I'm gonna. So some people say, "Hey, I'm George," because white people can't pronounce, or a lot of, not just white people, like people can't pronounce your name. I'm just gonna say, look, call me George. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
No. This is why I was like, oh, got it. So this is the important part of the story. So I leave to go pick up the kids, and as I'm pulling out, and I see his car parked outside on the street, I'll look on the back of his car. What do I see? A thin blue line flag. And I said, there it is. So I text Liz. I'm like, he's got a thin blue line flag on the back of his car. She was like, oh, he's definitely a Jorge, though. I was like, exactly. So there is a level of, when we talk about people, like especially people of the melanated majority, you are not conservative. You just are really angling for white approval. That's it. That's all. You point to me any melanated conservative person, I will show you how they are jockeying for white approval. That's it. You don't believe in any of that shit they talking about, and it bears itself out.
Yeah, you ready for breaking news? I got more.
Well, here we go. Let's go.
So this is, again, I'm not 100% sure, but they're saying this is Raymundo, who goes by Ray. He goes by Ray. Raymundo Gutierrez, 35.
This twink, he looks like fucking goddamn
Nick
Shirley. Nick Shirley.
This may or may not be true. I'm just because this is crazy. Like, this is literally crazy if this is him. Like, that's a wild.
Mr. Papi Chulo. I bet.
So
okay, Queen. You do that shit.
I hope that's fake. Like, what I'm reading, this is real. So
my goodness, but hey, y'all, there's always a sellout. Tokens aren't. Tokenism isn't worth the spit required to make it shine. Another token for the slot machine. Tokens get spent. Whichever token phrase y'all want to use, it doesn't matter. These people don't fucking matter. Like, they matter in the real world, like, because they harm people, but these people are insignificant pieces of shit. Do not make common cause with them. We have to stop trying to legitimize the organization that pays them. I don't give a fuck. People got paid to be slave catchers. People got paid to be, the armed militias. People get paid to do this shit. The idea that they have a badge and it says police on it. There's a reason why this was the Charlotte Black Lives Matter street. If y'all remember back in 2020, this was in Charlotte's now.
Where was that at?
In Charlotte, I think on Tryon, but this was the 3 words. So, like, the reason there is because this slave catching patrol has always been violent towards us, and that all that shit needs to go. I don't give a fuck. It could be unpopular. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. People don't like it. People don't like to hear defund the police. Well, guess what? When your rights are on the chopping block, and someone is saying, I'm taking your child from you, you know who will be there to support them or be the ones doing it? The police. So be mad at your fucking self. Be mad at your mama. But let's move on to because we're already 48 minutes. Good God. So let's see here. What else we got here? And I think the people redirecting their anger is really, really good. we've got some good news. We got this clip here of Georgia Fort leaving the because as we know, Don Lemon and Georgia Fort and two Black Lives Matter organizers out of Minneapolis were arrested by the federal agents that came to their door. And it's all false pretense. The same, these constitutional
masked men,
you know, bullshit warrant. Georgia said, slide it under the door. We don't got to show it to you. They're at a point where they're saying there is no due process. We don't have to show nothing to you. We are race agents. We are race soldiers, which is what they used to be called. Back, all these people stop making it about race. Y'all made it about race. You said this is a white man's country. You said it's hard for the white man. All this bullshit. But here, this is I'll play a slight clip of Georgia Fort leaving. And it's a very warm. Black lives.
Black lives. There she goes. There she goes. There she goes. We love you, Georgia.
And in fact, and she was recently on with Anderson Cooper, and I don't know if you saw this, man, but it was really good. Go ahead.
I'll just real quick say, like, you know, I think kind of the Black Lives Matter might have been one of the greatest recent coalitions, right? Because that was one that intersected multiple groups of all types. So just throwing that out there, it's still a movement.
I mean, it doesn't matter if this is the thing is we don't care if the right wing tears it down and Trump won we've never given a fuck, because at the end of the day, we still gonna say Black Lives Matter.
Or don't say woke, you know. And then the politicians like, you know, we got to stop saying woke.
We can't say no. They're right. They don't say it. Then we don't give a shit. Like we're still. I've had this shirt since 2020. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead with your clip. So you was on.
No, I'm still looking for it. So you
okay.
We heard with Anderson Clayton.
Yeah,
Anderson Cooper.
Yeah, stop worrying about the axle rods and these Democratic strategists. Like, where did that get us in 2024? Like, you know, so.
Hold on one second. Strategist, my fucking ass. All right, here we go. This is Georgia Ford, and the question she poses back to Anderson Cooper is so important. Check this out. Let me get the volume going here. All right.
Georgia, first of all, how are you doing? And were you surprised that you were arrested? Obviously, previous attempts to arrest you had been blocked by federal courts.
Yeah, you know, I'm hanging in there. It is quite frightening to have 24 agents outside of your home. You know, my children were home with me when I was arrested.
You had 24 agents show up at your door?
Yes.
You have no doubt that this is meant to intimidate not just yourself and Don Lemon and the others who were charged, but journalists everywhere.
I would ask you, how does it feel to you to see a journalist arrested for simply reporting the news? I would challenge every journalist in America to ask themselves how it felt to them today to see their colleagues be arrested for reporting the news. And if any of them say that it made them fearful, it made them concerned, it made them second guess going out tomorrow and covering what's happening in their communities, then yeah, I would say that was probably the intent.
So that question she turned back on him, because that's the bullshit, right? We get all these white anchors who they're putting nothing on the line. I just saw that piece of shit, SC Cup. I've never been a fan of her. She was like, I mean, let me tell you something. I don't like Don Lemon. Okay, I actually despise the man. It's like, okay, you are fans. You're friends with Bill Maher and like Jared Kushner. Like, I don't care. But the point is, these people who will never put anything on the line, all of a sudden they're gonna sit there and turn their head inquisitively at a Don Lemon. And I saw Chris Cuomo come out saying, "I don't defend what Don Lemon did," and all this hedging shit. And Anderson Cooper sitting there looking at Georgia Fort like, what do you think? Like, motherfucker, we're in the same position.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know how the rest of that conversation went. I'd like to, I know Anderson is very privileged, but also know he went through to Afghanistan and Iraq, and
The dude wears the IDF shirt.
so yeah, okay. What?
He wears an IDF shirt around New York City. It's well known that Anderson Cooper wears an IDF shirt around New York City, and there's pictures of him in it.
That's wild. That's the first
I mean, it's not recent, but still, I mean,
that's wild.
As we talk about the way people's minds are and what they're aligning with and what power sources they align with, Anderson Cooper.
Okay, that's crazy. But yeah, also what else is crazy is two dozen DEA was on their jackets.
I find
Drug Enforcement Administration
finding patches. Like, I don't care.
DEA is the Drug Enforcement Administration, right? Yes, Drug Enforcement. So that is a federal law enforcement agency under the Department of Justice to combat illicit drug trafficking.
Well, wrong. She's black.
So there are 24 agents, like she's El Chapo.
She's black.
So she's El Chapo now.
Wrong. She's black. Black people equal drugs. We're on black people. We're on drugs. Come on now.
So I'm fuck abolish ICE, abolish the DHS, because they're just sending any old body. Like the CBP, the Border Patrol, that's nowhere near the border. ICE, who's Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Yeah.
And then you got the DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, who's arresting people for the SAFE Act, which is
the FACE Act.
FACE Act. Sorry, I'm getting
the SAFE Act. SAFE Act is them trying to take away our voting rights. Just so you know.
So again, they get these little cute names.
So look, you got to save face, right? Put them both together.
So at this point, abolish DHS, because like that honestly is like that's really where the conversation should be moving. Is like the DHS is completely lost their fucking mind, and they're probably the ones who are funding Palantir alongside the military.
The contracts. Oh yeah.
So,
can you imagine Chuck Schumer getting asked, "Hey, are you willing to abolish the Department of Homeland?" These Democrats, Rob, just listen to what you're saying. Listen, and that's the point you were making last time.
But what is Doge? What did Doge come in and do? They abolished every fucking thing. So yes, okay, if you grab some fucking nuts, get some fucking nuts,
that's
and
the part.
Do something, Schumer, because Doge just did it. They just abolished everything. They literally just did it. They even FEMA is under DHS. They were talking about getting rid of all. FEMA has been crippled. Let's see, we got CISA, the cybersecurity organization. They gutted that. They gutted funding there. Coast Guard, got Customs and Border Protection, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Secret Service, and so like what else? Is I get them all? But those are, what's the difference? Seriously, tell me what's the difference between Doge and abolishing DHS or abolishing any other organization with DHS. Like, what's the difference? They just did it. They did it without telling you, without.
The thing is, they have no problem abolishing the Department of Education. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so sick of these motherfuckers. Like, we can't get rid of. Y'all have abolished the Department of Education in everything but name, right? You starved the beast. The Republican way is you don't just kill it; you have to starve the beast, right? You take away this funding. They've defunded public education, but us saying defund the police, the people that are murdering you in the streets, is a bridge too far. We have been propagandized as American citizens, and the reason I talk so aggressively about this is because if we are not clear-eyed about this, we are going to be you're overreacting ourselves to death. Someone's going to say, "Oh, what they say, the pathway to fascism is paved with people telling you that you're overreacting." It's like we're there. We're not slipping into fascism. We're not tiptoeing. It's not creeping. The bitch is here, and it's not at the front door. It's on your couch eating your fucking nachos. That's what it's doing. It's got its feet up on your kid's back and watching whatever it wants to watch. You would have watched something else. It's watching what it wants to watch. We're at that point. So I mean, man, hey. But to our do you have anything more on this? Because I want to hit two more things before we get out of here.
No, go ahead.
So with that being said, the control of information is very important right now, right? And I'm sure we've talked about our suppression on some of our social medias, but recently we've had TikTok America be taken over by Larry Ellison and his cadre of billionaire cronies to have a centralized control over information as we get more into this centralized big brother, if you will, top down information. And we know one of the biggest reasons is because a lot of people saw what's happening in Palestine. And one of the people that became famous, I never heard of this person prior to the genocide in Palestine, was Bisan from Gaza. We all knew Bisan from Gaza. She would be reporting every time she would get on the mic and say, "Hey, it's Bisan and I'm still alive. It's Bisan, I'm still alive. I'm still alive." And she had this clip that I wanted to play that I thought is very interesting as we're talking about the seizure of the information. If I can find it here. I thought I uploaded them all. Come on, Payron. Come on, baby. Come on, dude. Come on, Payron. Hot damn it. 3 more seconds, y'all. 3 more seconds. I'm better than this. I'm better than this. There it is. Okay. Here it is here. So this is Bisan. She has 2 clips that she's going to play here about we should all pay attention to what she's saying here because they'll say it's about one thing, but it's really about something else.
TikTok team, what's wrong? Why are you so mad? TikTok deleted my account. I had 1.4 million followers there, and I have been building that platform for 4 years now, but TikTok deleted it. It's not restricted as every time. No, it's banned forever. And actually, I expected something like that, especially after this interview.
But we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefields in which we're engaged. And the most important ones are the social media. And the most important purchase that is going on right now is TikTok. TikTok, number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential.
And this interview lately.
We made a change to designate the use of the term Zionist as a proxy for a protected attribute as hate speech. So if somebody were to use Zionist, of course you can use it in the sense of you're a proud Zionist, but if you're using it in the context of degrading somebody, calling somebody a Zionist as a dirty name, then that gets designated as hate speech to be moderated against. Over the course of 2024, we tripled the amount of accounts that we were banning for hateful activity. We also have, I think, over 24 Jewish organizations that are constantly feeding us intelligence and information when they spot violative trends. There is no finish line. There's no finish line to moderating hate speech, identifying hateful trends, trying to keep the platform safe. There's no such thing as an end game.
But I expected that.
Fucking pigs, man. And it's happening. The suppression of information, and we have someone here saying we're going to talk about the Epstein files that just dropped. We are, and this I think all this stuff goes into it because now what you cannot say on TikTok, ironically, is anything about Jeffrey Epstein. You can't say anything about Alex Preddy. You can't say anything about Zionism. You can't say anything about Israel and its genocide. So as we tie all these things together, we talk about Mossad agents and positions of power, and how America is in its imperial decline. You have to understand how the suppression of our rights are an essential function of that. And if you want to know who's controlling you, you have to understand it's always the person who you can't criticize. That's who it is. So as Bisan, who has won a I think she won not an Oscar, but like an Emmy for her reporting, she's now been deleted. You're muted.
We talked about this about a year ago, of this moment we're in, the culmination of both TikTok, Don Lemon, independent media. So I'm going to play this clip real quick.
And, I'm glad they're losing ratings. But if it's about losing ratings, they should have fired Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. They should have fired Nicole Wallace. She lost 67% of her viewer base. Joy Reid, yes, the MSNBC took a hit. Joy Reid only lost 21%.
Yeah.
So this is not about ratings, and people need to stop saying it's about ratings. I heard a guy on a podcast I listened to. He said her show was just unwatchable. He's a white guy. Joy Reid's show was just unwatchable. I'm like, for you.
There's definitely leaves a gap. I mean, you got Don Lemon, and you got Jim Acosta, and you got all these people, and there's a theme, and it's the same people that are saying get rid of DEI. They're saying basically they're getting rid of these people for a reason, because they don't want these voices to be heard. It comes down to independent media, or because at the end of the day, YouTube is still owned by Google. Right, so
correct.
People that are getting big on YouTube, Midas Touch, Don Lemon's building a following. I think Joy and Reid will probably. So at some point soon, there needs to be another media that we can rely on, whether it comes from I think it's Byron Allen is his name. Oh
yes.
I don't want to get him confused with the other Byron, and then
Donald's.
Yeah.
I was like, that's Mike. That's what I thought. I was like, Byron Donald.
Yeah, they're talking about Tyler. They talking about Tyler Perry coming in. Maybe even Mark Cuban bankroll. Something like so. At the end of the day, like Mark Cuban is a billionaire, but at the end of the day, like you need to have control of this media because, or not control of the media, but control of the power that that be behind the media, because at any given point, and who knows what Google's doing? Google could be nerfing, suppressing. These folks on their own platform, they make money. So, but at some point, Trump comes down and says, "Look, you're not getting this. You're not getting this. You're not gonna get. We're gonna deny you from acquiring this company or merging." Then they're gonna say, "Well, we're gonna sell you out because that is more valuable than your viewership and the ads spend that you bring and things like that."
We be knowing.
Yeah. So,
well, first of all, I was gonna say we came a long way. I was like, man, I was so nervous at that point still, but go ahead.
I mean, here we are. It's TikTok's now X is owned by Musk, TikTok's owned by Ellison. They're trying to control more of the media. We talked about
very wise
of us talking about exactly how the Nazi Germany. They took over the media first. That was what they went after first. They went after the arts. And so it's like, if history's not repeating itself, then I don't know what it's doing. It's definitely more than rhyming to me. So yeah, you had another.
Well, but with this, I think as we talk about our leaders, and to Bison's point, and us being afraid of being able to talk about what's happening and with these entities, such as the Zionist movement and these pigs who are trying to keep us from information. This is what your favorite top elected Democrat just said earlier today.
Fight for aid to Israel, all the aid that Israel needs. I will continue to fight for it. And we delivered more security assistance to Israel, our ally, under my leadership than ever before. We will keep doing that, everybody. It is so important to give Israel what it needs and to protect itself from the many in that difficult region who want to wipe Israel off the face of the map. We have to do everything to do that. We have to do everything to ensure that the delicate ceasefire secured last year paves the way to lasting peace, where people can live side by side.
I had not seen that. I mean, he's talking more hardline there than any other conversation I've seen him in recently.
About anything.
So you got Donald Trump he's got the UAE's been warming up with the Saudi Arabia, giving them all kinds of things, giving them the AI chips and secrets and building stuff, and you got Israel. Other than Iran in this region, who are they defending? Who is Israel defending? Like, who is and like I said, Iran. Who are they defending themselves in the regions? Palestine, Hamas, Palestine is not. They don't have any kind of power to do anything to Israel. Israel is fine. I mean,
Well, I think we have to stop looking at Israel as, and someone said this to me a few months ago, and it's clicked me ever since. We have to stop looking at Israel as as this rogue nation, and it's look at it as it's an extension of the United States imperialism. It's an extension of the United States. Once you realize it's an extension of the United States in resource control and regional hegemony, then it makes more sense as to why all these things are happening, why they can skirt international law, why there's no sanctions, why there is political cover, why there is still investments being made in settlements, why that's the reason why it's an extension of America. And when you hear the leader of the Democratic Party, the highest elected a Democrat in America is that person we just played. And to your point, he is more interested in that than stopping a massed force. It's very similar to the Gestapo that was killing his ostensible ancestors in Europe. And the idea that we have to sit here, he wants to give our tax dollars to them, who's committing a genocide, living in an apartheid state while you don't have health care.
Whatever they need, whatever they need.
While you can afford health care, you can afford food, you're losing your job. These people need to get your tax dollars.
Meanwhile, Israel has healthcare, education. I don't know the exact details. They actually fund every business, every startup business that comes through. They fund. The United States doesn't do that. For
their education is free for their
citizens. Their college, So I would love to pull up the details. So all of that, like indirectly, we're subsidizing. In there, but and
that should make y'all mad. I don't care who you are. That should make you very upset.
So, but now that we're criticizing this, we're now anti-Zionists, anti-Zionists, anti-Semites, and I mean, they're changing the definition of what I believe to be the definition of Zionism. So look.
One of the most radicalizing things that I heard.
I think that Schumer's he's got to go. I mean, I don't know if anybody, but the Democrats need to replace him because he can be replaced. His own party can replace him as minority. I have no idea, but I mean, Democrat. I don't know, man. I do not know. This is not it. This is not it, man.
And this is why, as to Chief Vassal Clan's question about this right wing takeover, Chuck Schumer is more invested in making sure we send our tax dollars to Israel. Which again, if we would have taken care of some of the material concerns of everyday Americans, would have had people less susceptible to right wing rhetoric and right wing ideology, because they were able to have health care, because they're able to have to move about the cabinet, to be able to travel, meet new people, have new experiences. It lessens it. This is why all fascists need people to be isolated. This is why.
So the Epstein files.
Yes, that's very important. Yes. Yes, the Epstein files. We got 3 million new Epstein files that just dropped. They're very salacious, right? There's stories in there about Donald Trump using his finger to check the width of the vaginas of 13 and 14-year-old girls. Robin Leach strangling a woman to death. Cannibalism and eating people. And I mean, some of these stories. And again, I'm an atheist. But I certainly believe in demons after reading some of these things. Of course, the story of Donald Trump, a child, and all these things.
The thing of I don't know why people are pretending this man's name shows up. Your name doesn't show up in all these by coincidence. This many times in this manner. He's said things out of his own mouth about his own daughter. He's said things about other people's children. He said things about how he runs through locker rooms of
grab by the pussy,
team pageants. So you can't locker room talk your way out of these emails, and whether they're allegations or not. Again, there has not been this was before this man was running for president. This is there's not some huge conspiracy to get rid of Donald Trump, just because, right?
You need a time machine.
Just this is not by like, so people can sit here and pretend like if you're Republican or MAGA supporting Trump as of February 1st 2026, that says a hell of a lot more about you than even Trump himself. We know who Trump is. Like, we know you who continue to support this and ignore it, you are either doing some of the same shit, or you've been apologizing for the same shit, and apologize if you've been traumatized and have gone through this yourselves, and you've been holding this secret. Like, but people around you weren't holding people accountable, and some of the people that let this happen to you. Like, it's disgusting, and it's shameful, and it's sad, because then it makes sense why kids, children, women have been raped and assaulted throughout history, because y'all are over here standing for what? And you don't and like, all you want to talk about trans, and you want to talk about trans in sports, and running through and talking about who's in the bathroom and what genitals are attached to who, like, because what? I haven't heard of a transgender person raping somebody in a bathroom. I haven't. Like, all these things that they're talking about, like, they don't happen. It just doesn't. And so you talk about distracted. We month in and month out, there's this crazy ass woman here in Monroe and her family talking about the same fucking shit. Talking about trans and protecting children. Meanwhile, y'all are in the party, the grand old pedophile party,
Guardians of pedophiles.
So shut up. You're talking about laws. You running through the white Capitol January 6th. You're getting to get a pardon. You're talking about laws. They should get here legally. You're breaking the laws, running up in their houses with no warrants, just ripping people out of cars at gunpoint, shooting people dead in the streets. Talking about laws. Shut up. Like, just shut up. These people, like, we can't deal with it. Like, that was it. They're the last. If there's any hope, it's now. This is it. Like, if you have your family and they're MAGA, you have your husband laying next to you right now, and he's MAGA, and he can't separate from it, then you could become, now I'm looking at y'all like y'all are allies. That's you picking your side. You sleeping with this person, you got your parent, like, I'm sorry, but I'd be cutting off my parent. Like, they might be my parents, but I wouldn't be talking to them and treating them like, hey, I'm gonna see you on Thanksgiving. My kids, I would feel like I failed as a parent. I can't do it. Like, all of this shit, like, it just makes no sense to me.
I think it's hard. I think it's hard for a lot of Americans to come to grips with what's going on. I think it's hard for a lot of Americans to come to grips that we are seeing mass psychosis. And this is not me saying mass psychosis to excuse and be like, oh, they're just crazy, they were brainwashed. No. What I mean by that is to see that mass psychosis had already happened before Trump had ever hit the scene, right? Like, that. This is why I say it's very important for us to understand and unlearn white supremacy, no matter who you are, me and Rom, everybody, because we've already been indoctrinated. And what Trump came in and did was tapped into what was already there to people that want to believe in that, right? So, like, I think it's really hard for us to see people who are in ostensibly a cult, what you just said, and then be like, but that's my dad. Because, again, you wouldn't try to, convince someone at Heaven's Gate, that cult that, they're wearing those long blue robes in the 90s and they killed themselves by drinking the stuff, and they found with those special Nikes. Remember that? Heaven's Gate, the cult that killed themselves. Like,
I remember, yeah.
You wouldn't want to talk to those people about, like, a long-term investment, right? You wouldn't talk to people in Jonestown about property in Seattle, Washington, right? Like, there's no level of, like, active, normal modes of communication with people that we know are in cults that we like to malign, like, oh, they're in a cult. Instead of acknowledging this country has always been a cult. This country has always been right-wing. So when people are like, oh, I'm a moderate, this country has been right-wing since its inception. It's never been left-wing, even with Democrats. So we have to understand that. And then we have people who are like your husband, your father, your daddy, your brother, your cousin, and they can't come to grips with someone they love upholds a violent cult-like mindset. So they say, oh, we can negotiate with them. We can talk to them. Again, you would not try to negotiate someone out of Heaven's Gate. The only way to de-radicalize someone out of a cult is someone who's already left that cult. That is the highest propensity of people that can get they can connect with those people because they say, "Hey, I know what it's like with a dear leader. I used to be one." So, and again, this is why we say black people. It is not our job. It's our job to resist them and to fight them. But this is a white people problem because white supremacy was built for white people and is a system that serves white people, even if you are not quote unquote MAGA.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I know there's, people like Camp Call Out, and there was somebody who does some stuff on Midas who used to be, and I'm not a huge fan of Camp Call Out, but she was in. I know. There was another white man who's a little more righteous, if you will, and who also was in the cult before. I mean, maybe they need to band together like some Power Rangers or something.
Yeah, I gotta figure it out.
Formers, because the other thing that we don't talk about much, and because I'm kind of done kind of rationalizing it, but I do know and understand the power of media and algorithms. I think if we actually tried to sit down with some of these ardent MAGA supporters, the information they get probably looks like nothing like what we get, right? Because they're looking at Fox, who ignores what's actually happening. They look at Fox or whatever, Newsmax, who will turn the Epstein files into, this is just, this isn't real, whatever. And to your point, like they're lost in the cult. They'll say like this is a hit, or they'll talk about Bill Clinton or Bill Gates or whatever it is to distract them. And like I said, I think these are adults. We shouldn't have to handhold adults. And again, when I talk about your friends and your husbands and your parents and your kids, and you can't talk to them and they won't listen to you, they'd rather listen to the media and actually not try to consume different sources, listen to you as a family member, listen to you as a friend. Like they're so far gone. So if there are people out there that are still have the energy to do so, like be for real about it. Like this is it.
Side note, let me ask you. So some of the names that came out, of course, some other names, we got Jay-Z in there.
What was the context?
We got Jay-Z in there, and we got Pusha T.
Okay, what were they in there for?
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't. But like, how do we feel about Jay-Z and Pusha T coming up in the Epstein files and this new batch? Since we talk about smoke, bring everybody down. I mean, this is it. This is an intercultural question to Ron. But like, what do you think?
I mean, if they're in there for terrible reasons, then fuck them. But I'm willing to put any of these things in context because, like we talked about Trump, people can act like whatever. This man's showing up in there thousands of times from 20 different directions. It's not by coincidence, but I'm sure there are people that come in there when you're a billionaire, you come into these things. There was people at who was it? Somebody was at in Diddy's like kind of circle, and they've never. But like, I'm not justifying. I just don't know the context. So I don't want to sound crazy when I'm saying like, give me the context. But Pusha T, I've never really heard anything about Pusha T in terms of like things that would be creepy. But Jay-Z, he's come up in I think a couple of like things that I wouldn't say like children or anything, but he's definitely come up with some suspicious stuff.
Yeah, no.
But I know he cut off R. Like I know he slapped the shit out of R. Kelly, right? So he also toured with him. Like he knew, like back then. Like I mean, I feel like how did you not know that R. Kelly was a pedophile?
I would absolutely know he was.
He went on a whole tour. You went a whole tour. He went on a whole tour with him. He slapped the shit out of him. But why? I don't know. I mean, if Jay-Z came up, I would be less surprised than Pusha T. Let me put it like that.
Right. No, I'm with you. Man. But yeah, so the thing is, we're shocked, but we can't forget this country was built on grown, rusty ass men who are in power, fucking children who are 30. Sally Hemings was 13 years old with Thomas Jefferson. I reposted my annual well, now I'm gonna do it every year. My annual It's in Your DNA video. And I talk about Sally Hemings and how young she was being raped by a old ass man. And one of the things that, you know, Kimberly Guilfoyle, not Kimberly Guilfoyle, Virginia Giuffre, one of the most famous Epstein victims, she says, you know, I may get dates wrong, I may get places wrong, but one thing you never forget is having is feeling the grinding of a old man above you, and that's seared into your brain. So it's like, you know, people could do all this, like, well, where's the proof? Y'all have never cared about proof. You know, this country was built on this. Like, that's the hard shit that also people who cry over the fucking national anthem at football games, like, they have never been serious about you know, the ground this country is on, right? We're standing on ground that is blood soaked with indigenous and the sweat of black and brown people and the blood of black people. And like, they're not serious. And this is a very serious moment because the other side is hell bent on making sure people stay asleep. That's why they hate being woke.
Yeah. And, you know, most rapes go unreported. Most go unpunished. You know, imagine being raped and then being told, well, then having the burden of proof, having to prove this, and then, you know, no one believing you, or you shouldn't have been put in that position, or you shouldn't have put yourself in that position. Why did you wear what you wore? Why did you drink what you drank? Why did you go to his house? As if that is, so all of everything that's wrong with it is blamed on the woman. Right. Or, you know, where was this child's parents? Where was the child's parents of, you know, these people that were around R. Kelly or the people that were around Donald Trump or Epstein? You know, where were their parents? And yeah, I agree with that. Where were their fucking parents? But okay. But like, so that gives the man permission. So that's what's crazy to me is like, yeah, it's crazy. Like, honestly, their
whole politics is rape politics. I posted this on my Facebook that, like, you know, comply or die or stop resisting what they tell us with the police. This is all rape logic. This is all rape logic, right? True. This is what you would tell someone if you wanted to rape them. Stop resisting me. Let me rape you, right? Or comply or die. This is all a rapist logic. And people that support, again, this is why I want to say, fuck the police. I don't give a fuck if your dad's the police or this system is rape logic. The whole fucking thing. So, but before we get out of here, on a lighter note, I had some other fun stuff. But I looked at my phone for a gallon because people were texting me. Tonight is the Grammys. This is on a much happier note. It sounds like Bad Bunny just won something, and he gave a very powerful speech. I haven't heard this, but I'm going to play it because it sounds like he's talking about the shit we've been talking about on the beginning of the show with ICE and immigrants. So I'm going to play here. If y'all don't follow this brother, he's a great reporter. He's been posting a lot of stuff. Here's why, Kevin. Great. I didn't
even realize we were competing against the Grammys. Thank you for joining us, everyone.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, here y'all about to watch the Grammys here, but here's Benito Antonio. Hold on, let me pause here. Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, better known as Bad Bunny. And he won for best urbana music, but it sounds like he gave a very powerful speech about what is going on in this country and who deserves to be represented. So I'm going to play here for 1 second. For some reason, the sound's not coming through here. I think it's, let me see. Okay, here we go.
Before I say thanks to God, I'm going to say, eyes out. We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we are humans and we are Americans. Also, I want to say to the people, I know it's tough to know, not to hate on these days. And I was thinking, sometime we get contaminados. I don't know how to say that in English. The hate get more powerful with more hate. The only thing that is more powerful than hate is love. So, please, we need to be different. If we fight, we have to do it with love. If, we don't hate them, we love our people, we love our family, and that's the way to do it, with love. Don't forget that, please. Thank you. Thank you, God.
All right, there is 1 week from today. We will have him gracing the. I still got my page up. We still have.
I just realized I got to reschedule next week's.
Yes,
so,
I will be at the Benito Bowl. I got my shirt ready. I will be at the Benito Bowl. Yes. So yeah, I mean, I think at a time where the largest Latin star, the largest artist on the planet, who's also Latino, is also American, but also knows that in this racist society where they're arresting Americans, like the sister that I posted on my page, who is from Miami, she's born here. They don't care. And his message was that it's not that we hate you, we love ourselves. And we have to remember that as the Grecian philosopher Seneca said, all hatred springs from cruelty. All cruelty springs from insecurity. That's what it all comes from, right? So these people, these ICE agents, whether it be Jesse, Jesus, or Gutierrez, these people are insecure, and that is where their hatred springs from. And what Benito said there was that, like, we are going to beat you with our love, and we love it. That doesn't mean we ain't going to throw them things. It just means that we love ourselves, and we will do anything to protect ourselves against your hate. What do you think about what he said there?
I thought it was spot on. I think he said it beautifully. I think that it is the most, it sheds politics and all these specifics, and it's just it goes to the humanity, right, of the situation of why, like, of love versus hate. I mean, like, literally everything that is coming from the other side is hate. It's based in hate. It's based on pitting you against other people. It's based on you versus the other, and the people. It should not matter that you shouldn't have to be Latino to feel for a child getting ripped from their parents. You shouldn't have to be Latino to feel about everything that's going on, right? You should see somebody getting racially profiled, kids getting torn apart, kids getting killed in custody, adults getting killed in custody. So it shouldn't take, the Renee Goods, right? It shouldn't take, the Alex Pretties. So it should not have to take somebody that looks like me to actually feel something for somebody, right? And that's unfortunate that we don't pay attention to what's going on until it happens closer to home, until it's too late, right? So, yeah, I think I think it's a great speech. I think that it should be coming from other people too, not just on his back, but there's a lot that's on his back symbolically, in this time period, right? Today, next week, going into next week. I mean, the same thing with Kendrick last year.
I was about to say, yeah.
And people look, and that's why Trump is coming after the arts, right? That's why Trump's coming after the media.
Well, it's failing. Look at Melania.
But this is exactly why they go after the arts
Right.
and the and media, because they want to silence these voices, and these people are so big. And in 2026, you can get rid of the TikToks and the YouTubes, and it's going to be a very, very, very long ride. And to be honest, they don't have that much time to actually do it. And they've, in my opinion, in a lot of ways, they've already failed.
And they don't got the muscle. They don't got the muscle. They think they have the muscle, right? This is why ICE has to kind of move from city to city. Like, it's not everywhere. Like, it is everywhere, but it's not in these large gangs of people. Like Bovino and now Homan. They're in certain places. Like they can't. They don't got the fucking muscle.
Stephen Miller, Bovino walking around with his bodyguards all the time.
Right.
This is fight one-on-one. Stephen Miller talking like he's.
I will fold all these motherfuckers. Okay, look, I haven't been in a fight in a long time, but when I tell you, I would tap back into some high school rage to fucking get it to popping. It would be on and popping. But like,
I got my ass beat in high school, but I post high school.
Well, Ron, let's not say that. But I guess I guarantee
you gotta lose some. You gotta lose some before you can win them.
I guarantee you've been in more fights than Stephen Miller.
Oh yeah, probably.
I guarantee you.
You
look, and even if you did lose a fight in high school, I'll put my fucking bottom dollar that you'll beat Stephen Miller's ass. Like you will beat him off the strength. Like off. You see that motherfucker? He's built like a used condom. Ain't no way that motherfucker gonna beat me in no goddamn fight. But like the one thing I want to say before we get out of here, I think Benito did a fantastic job with that speech, as you just said. Bad Bunny playing next Sunday at Super Bowl, Benito Bowl. You know, I'm tuned in for that. Again, I have no problem not watching the game. I probably will graduate to becoming an ancestor before I watch another down of professional football. But I will be watching the Benito Bowl. But one thing that they want from all of us, they want us to be afraid. But what's happening is they're making us angry. It's backfiring. They want you to be afraid, but it's not working. It's making us angry. You got soccer moms after they drop their kids off, blocking off these fucking nutless pieces of shit. And unfortunately, yes, they are getting gunned down like Renee Good. You got nurses, ICU nurses like Alex Preddy kicking off fucking taillights and talking shit, bringing their guns out. They think that we're afraid, but we're not. Even the black folks who aren't out there on the front line, we ain't afraid. We just, again, when I said we have very high danger radar. We just know when it's our time for us to to stick and move. We're not afraid. You're making us angry, folks. Use that anger. And before we get out of here, I guess what else? But you're muted.
You said something real quick. I just want to talk about not being afraid. I just want to play this clip because this woman.
Go ahead.
I mean, did you see this?
I did see this. I did.
Okay, I'm gonna play it real quick because this is crazy.
It's very crazy.
Thursday, and it was obtained by NPR News. It captures officers with guns drawn, pulling over a driver just south of Minneapolis, forcing a woman out of her car before detaining her. The St. Peter, Minnesota Police Department later helped that woman get home after agents dropped her off at the station. DHS says she was disrupting an operation. And earlier,
I hate. So they didn't play that clip doesn't actually play what she said, but she was like, I'm not getting out. I hate that. It just highlights how the media is like, well, and
there's that other lady
said.
There's that other lady who's like in New England. She's like, I work for the county. Have you seen that video?
No.
She's like, I work for the county. I was like, who are y'all? She rolls up. Her husband's driving. She leans out the passenger window to some ICE sedan. They got tinted windows cracked, and she's leaning out. Her whole body's out of the window, and she's like, I work for the county. Who are you looking for?
Let me play this.
Oh.
I want people to hear what she said.
No, I will not. I will not get out of the car. No. I will not get out of the car. You guys, I need CEOs here now. No, I will not get out of the car. You can't do this. Get your hands off of me. Get your fucking hands off me. Get your hands off me. I am not doing shit. I am observing. I am not done anything.
So the point of that is that,
and you see the media did not play that part.
Yeah, and they said what the DHS said.
Right.
So that highlights part of the problem right there, right?
Agreed.
You frame it with whatever the DHS says, but she wasn't afraid. She stood her ground.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God. But these men hopped out the car at gunpoint because she was following them at gunpoint. And the other guy that said, you saw what we did before. You don't want to tap it again. You didn't learn your lesson. All of this shit. Like, and they.
Well, we got to give them more money, Ron. We have to give these people more money.
More training, and if they were on camera, then
I mean, even though Jonathan Ross was recording it with his own phone, he was. I mean, the logic collapses immediately, folks. They want you to be afraid. They're making us angry. They're making us fucking angry. Stay angry. Utilize that anger to build community. Utilize that anger to mainstream and help out your other folks. Everybody has a job. Be the president of your block. Right? Is everything moving smoothly? Is the trash getting picked up on time? Does your neighbor need anything? Does the old lady down the street, is she getting her meds on time? Everybody can do something. I'm going to say that at the end of every single episode. It is time for, like, our government has failed us. We got to be honest about that. I know people talk about midterms and all this shit. Imagine, I just showed you the top Democrat. Okay, I just showed you the top elected Democrat in the United States of America and what he's fired up about. Okay. It ain't got shit to do with us. Okay, so it's up to you to defend yourself. Black people have been warning you. We've been fighting against this state since we've been forced to be here, and we will continue to fight against this state. That's why Rom's shirt has the black, red, and the green, if you know what I mean. That's why my shirt has Black Lives Matter on this very first day, on the 100th anniversary of what? Black History Month, created by Carter G. Woodson 100 years ago as Black History Week, as Negro History Week. So, folks, do not back down. Do not be afraid. Resist in every way you possibly can, because that's how we get out of here. That's how we do this. And that's all I got. But I mean, I do have one funny clip to kind of have us leave on a happy note. Any final notes?
That's all. That's it. You said everything. And just don't think that the Democrats are not going to save us.
They are not.
So that's not just voting is not going to save us.
Nope.
So just remember that. That's it.
That's it. All right, this final clip is a funny clip. I like to leave on a funny note. If you guys know this piece of shit, he's a right-wing grifter named Nick Adams. He's actually from Australia. He considers himself MAGA. If you guys remember a few years ago when the Eminem debacle, when they took the heels off the Eminem, they gave her tennis shoes. He went to Times Square at the Eminem store and was like trying to yell at the store manager of like, why are you taking away the sexy M&Ms? This is when Tucker Carlson said he doesn't want. I have a very bad Australian accent and impression, but this is when Tucker Carlson said he doesn't want to fuck the green M&M anymore because people think like that. But this is a clip of Nick Adams and how this is his rundown of what happened at the Melania premiere. So here we go. And then on the other side, we'll say our goodbyes. But check this shit out.
This is the funniest thing I have ever read in my entire life. And out of all the things that never happened, this never happened the most. What I'm about to read you is an actual post by MAGA conservative and self-proclaimed alpha male Nick Adams from X and his experience going to see the Melania movie. End scene. I'm settling in for a showing of Melania, and the theater is packed. Earlier, a bystander asked if I was headed to see Avatar, and I stopped dead in my tracks. Avatar? No, son, I curtly replied. I don't watch woke movies. I'm here to see the groundbreaking documentary about our incredibly talented First Lady. The man's two little girls began jumping up and down, pulling on his sleeve and begging, Daddy, we want to see Melania. But, he stammered, I thought you girls wanted to see Zootopia too. No, they said, now nearly shouting. We want to see Melania. She's the most beautiful First Lady ever. The father was scrambling, stressed out, and disoriented. Girls, I'm afraid you aren't the only ones who are captivated by President Trump and his beautiful wife, I said, kneeling to get to their level. Virtually everyone in this theater is here for the 7:30 p.m. showing, and it's been sold out for days. Tears began to well up in their eyes. But, I said in a hushed tone, I happen to have a few extra tickets with me, and I'd like you and your dad to have them. They jumped for joy and began hugging their father. He looked relieved as he wiped sweat off his brow with a smile. I handed him the tickets and pulled him close. Raise these girls right, I whispered. Teach them to be classy, conservative women of faith like Melania. Don't let them become like Meghan Markle, capiche? He hugged me and thanked me profusely. What are you gonna do now, he asked. Don't worry about me, son, I told him with a twinkle in my eye. I've already got tickets to the next showing. End scene. Let's file this under fiction, and MAGA is so fucking weird.
Oh my God. Oh, GPT wrote that.
Could you imagine posting that as an alpha male? Could you imagine being like, yeah, who is that for?
I don't know.
This is a cult. Again, you wouldn't try to argue away motherfuckers from Jonestown, Heaven's Gate. What's David Koresh and Waco? What are those people called?
It's on the tip of my tongue. The Branch Davidians.
Branch Davidians. You wouldn't. MAGA's the same way. So again, before we get out of here, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Rap Cruise podcast. This one went long. Sorry, we were trying to keep it to an hour, but there's a lot of shit to get to. And Rom's been out. He's been all over the world. Rom this brother is the technology guru of the world. I'm so proud of him. But please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Radical Cruise podcast.
Thank you.
It's how we stay independent. It's how we keep the news coming to you from a black and brown lens. We saw what's happening with TikTok. They may come for us one day, but let's put up a hell of a fight where we at least put up a good moment at this time. So please make sure if you could give us a couple dollars, helps go a very long way. Anything you got, Ron?
It might be a while. I might have to join you on one of these weekday shows during the 11 a.m. hour because next week I'll be out town this Thursday. I'll be everyone will be watching the Super Bowl or the Bad Bunny concert next Sunday, and the following week is rough
Sunday
as well. So I got to reschedule our guest. So we have
I saw that.
It's going to be pretty exciting. So I will reschedule that, but we might not see us on a Sunday for a couple weeks. So
it's all right. But this is why I started doing the Roots Rundown to kind of throw some, just keep the show, to keep the blood pumping.
Yeah, there's a lot of news that comes out, and I mean this episode ran long because there was absolutely so much news, and we didn't get to everything. It was Bovino he was just in the past week he was demoted. Like we didn't even talk about that.
You get
to how quickly so much
marble mouth Holman.
Like he's any better. All right, y'all,
folks. Thank y'all so much. I'm your co-host Peyron Baxter.
And I'm your co-host, Ram Sandoval. Thank you again. Have a great night. Peace.